Oseo.
Oseo.
Cherokee greeting and wave the great feather for the good of it. Today we're starting off in ancient Greece, and the name of my theme today is the wise Sappho. She is the ancient Greek poetess, and that's what this whole theme's going to be about. And Claudia, after I present everything, is going to do a reading of Sappho's poems. So that'll be a medley of her poems. So to start with, we're going to look here. This is my painting. And this painting, we would say, the woman who is a poet verbs with her lunar ancestry. And since I'm so fortunate to have 3 women poets here in my corner, you can see me in the moonlight, like that. And that we've just passed the autumn equinox, so if we can look over here at this figure, the statue I have here. This is Etruria. Etruria is the goddess of autumn, and she's also the source of the name or word of autumn, autumnus, here. Get a good look at her. And if you go up here, this is my painting. That is, it's a copy. It's a copy of Etruria that is from 2,600 years ago. It was on a vase, and that is the exact century for my subject today, and that is Sappho. And to start off with, you come back to me. I'm presenting to start with this book. This is really a gem. It is Thought and Vision and the Wise Sappho by H.D. H.D. is Hilda Doolittle. She lived the same age as my grandmother, that is from the 1880s up to 1970, and the same age as Ezra Pound, who first published her in 1913. And this little book here, this is published by Lawrence Ferlinghetti's City Lights Books. They're on Columbus Street in San Francisco there, and he may have written this little piece on the jacket that I'm going to do to introduce this. In Notes on Thought and Vision, an aphoristic meditation on the creative process. The Imagist poet, H.D. Hilda Doolittle, finds the sources of the imagination in 3 states of life: body, mind, and overmind. In the overmind, she says, thoughts pass and are visible like fish swimming through clear water. She intimates that it is easier for a woman to arrive at the ideal body-mind synthesis better than it is for a man. Then to go on for the Sappho part, Sappho, this is quote, little but all roses. This is a quote from an Alexandrian poet. It's what he said on Sappho's surviving fragments. But H.D. suggests other analogies, and that is that this is an entirely different world of emotion. She says, a song, a spirit, a white star that moves across the heavens mark the end of a world epic or the presage of a coming glory. Yet she is embodied, a human being, a woman. So I'm going to read some little snippets. This is from H.D. on Sappho, starting with that quote I just mentioned. I'm just going to run it through. Little but all roses is the dictate of the Alexandrian poet. little but all roses. True, there is a tint of rich color. Invariably, we find it. Violets, purple wool of cloth, scarlet garments, dyed fastening of a sandal, the lurid, crushed, and perished hyacinth, stains on cloth and flesh and parchment. Little but all roses. I think, though the stains are deep on the red and scarlet cushions, on the flaming cloak of love, it is not warmth we look for in these poems, but another element containing all of these. Yet it is in the essence differing from all of these, as if the brittle crescent of the moon gave heat to us. I think of the words of Sappho as these colors, or states rather, transcending color, yet containing all color. And perhaps the most obvious is the rose color, merging to richer shades of scarlet, purple, or Phoenician purple, to the superficial lover, truly, roses. Little, but not little, but all roses. So at the last we are forced to accept the often quoted tribute of that Alexandrian poet, little but all roses. True, Sappho has become for us a name, an abstraction as well as a pseudonym for poignant human feeling. She is indeed rocks set in a blue sea. She is the sea itself. She is the island of artistic perfection where the lover of ancient beauty may yet find foothold and take breath and gain courage for new adventures and dreams of yet unexplored continents and realms of future artistic achievement. She is the wise Sappho. That's from HD, and that's just a little bit. This book is an absolute treasure. It really, really is. And to come over here and take a look at who I'm talking about here, this is my portrait of Sappho from 2,600 years ago. She's a native of the island of Lesbos. It's lesbian here. And in what I just read from HD, rose color very much, was her color. And here she has very thick, curly brown hair that she wears pretty short, and she has what's called, a hair switch here. I think probably she used the cuttings from her own hair to fashion this peculiar hairpiece, and that's what it's called. That way. And here in front, this is a rare painted vase of about 200 years after her life, like about 400 BCE. And this is Sappho right here. And on this, she does have brown hair. It's short. It's not as short as my portrait, but there she is. This is really quite rare piece here. And this fish, Vivian made this fish to go with this, And if we kind of move up here to this piece, what I have here, the primordial creator is Demogorgon. That's Demogorgon, and here is the ancient woman, dancing to the ancient creatoress here. And here is another one of my portraits of ancient Mediterranean women here. And then down here, these are replicas that I've taken from a vase painting. And I can't quite remember who she is, but that's a pose of a famous woman, and she fits in here. And here is actually from Athens. This is an owl of Athena. Now also, there in the Mediterranean, it was a woman's world a woman's culture there, and from long, 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 long ago. And the Mediterranean Sea was itself conceived in that world as her uterus. And so the islands and all the shrines and things that were all around, we speak of that. The story of Helen of Troy, Helen is actually more or less one of them. She's been pictured at a later date, but actually Paris, who took her from Sparta, and she went around the eastern part of most of all that Mediterranean and its countries, and her name is Torch, and she reignited the shrines of the goddess there. And you can come down here to this vase here. This is an ancient vase from Crete, the Minoan world of Crete, and you see the dolphins here. The dolphins were absolutely ubiquitous there in that culture. And the word dolphin and Delphi are all the Greek word of Delphi, meaning womb. And so certainly the people who lived on Crete that were called Minoans were themselves dolphin people. That's who they would be. And their buildings or shrines, I put some seashells here, were just a floor of shells made with all kinds of shells, like a mosaic. And this is my drawing of a dolphin, and this is a in-life drawing. That is on the shore down here. I had come upon this animal who had just beached herself. She had just beached herself there, rode right out of the surf like a surfer, and expired right in front of me. And then out there in the surf were the dolphins. There were, several dolphins out there, and I really had the sense that they were paying tribute to this person. Dolphins are animals who are persons at the same time. And also, when this animal comes out of the water, as this one did, then all the colors brighten up. You can become brighter. And I also did a watercolor of her. So the dolphin is, very, very significant in this ancient world, and like saying another synonym for the womb. And then come up here, and you see here, last week I had presented a Minoan oil lamp, and here are some other ancient oil lamps, is what they're called. I don't know the other name for them, but in that world they are also conceived as symbols of the yoni, with the wick being the clitoris. So these are very ancient here. And then we can come over here to, this is my painting. In India, the clitoris is called Bhagshif, from Bhaga, meaning good fortune, it's really good, and sheaf. And the sheath here is called, Anandamaya. Anandamaya would be like, the body of pleasure. And I've painted her here with the three gorgons, and that's Euryale, and Stethno, and Medusa. These are the three gorgons. And here in this piece, in India, this is being called a Siva Lingam or Lingam Yoni. The word lingam just means either characteristic or, in this sense, a mark. So there is the mark there, and the yoni, being like the vulva, and this, coming out. Pink, I've used the color pink. The pink means, dianthus. Dianthus is meaning in Greek, actually, the goddess flower. This is the goddess flower. And on top, this is surmounted by a lotus, but this lotus, in this context, is the Nymphaea. The Nymphaea lotus. And she is surrounded by nymphets here. So all of that. And the mark here People who are followers of Shiva put this mark on their head, whatever their idea is about it. But here you see the red, this is like we call Bindu, and this is the compact and concentrated Sakti energy, meaning the energy of the feminine. And it's like music scale, and it's an ascendant. It's placed the way it is because it's ascendant. And what it is ascending is the sound word that's become so famous called Om. And all kind of things have been made about it. But what it is the lowing of a cow. And so the Hotari, the ritualists of the ancient time, and they still do it, you know, that this would be the right ascendancy for that tone that would go, Om. You get the idea. And so I have a little cow here, and this is a little one of these here. For women who are the Dakinis, the yogic tantric women, we go up here, and what this is a Vajra Yoni. A Vajra Yoni meaning a diamond holder, and this is like saying the cosmic clitoris here, and that's, you know, what I'm portraying here, and that has, you know, huge ramifications here. The word clitoris here in Barbara Walker's book of Woman's Dictionary under sunflower, is that the etymology, the root form of this word clitoris, you know, has actually come from this mythical nymph, as they're called, Kliti, or Kimi, Klish, you know, it has different pronunciation, but Kliti basically is where this root word comes from. And she was being loved by Apollo, and that she was changed into a sunflower, or any kind of flower that follows the sun, like that. So that is also evident with Sappho, at least in HD's thing here, where she has a little part about this little girl. Her name is Kles, and it was reported that she is the mother of Sappho. And Sappho also had a daughter whom she called Kles. Kles was golden, no doubt. Kles was perfect. Kles was a beautiful baby, looking exactly like a yellow flower. She was so extraordinarily beautiful. So we have an idea there. She says, so in the realm of the living, we know there was a Kles. So give you some idea where this word, I used the pronunciation in the Greek form, kleis, clitoris, here. And then I showed this last week. I put some more vines. This here, this is being called the labri. Somehow, it doesn't make sense, but somehow it's being translated into English as double axe, because to somebody that's what it looks like. But the Greeks have their own name for axe, you know, axini. And so it is not that, and there are no portrayals or any way at all that would suggest that it is thought of or being used as an axe. And labris is just the way that it's being pronounced when it's, you know, actually labrium. The labris means the lips of the yoni. That's what this is. And I have it here because we have the early lesbian poetess here, and modern lesbian women reportedly wear these as an amulet. In other words, it still has a functional relationship for over thousands of years. And I think that's really remarkable. Now, we're going to have Claudia. She is going to do a reading, and she'll give you a little bit more recap, you know, on this Sappho. So Claudia can come up here, and Eric will take over the filming.
So it's an honor here to be talking about Sappho and sharing some of her poetry with all of us. There's only a handful of details that we know about her life. We think she was born around 615 BC to an aristocratic family on the Greek Isle of Lesbos. And evidence suggests that she had several brothers, married a wealthy man named Cyruslis, and had a daughter named Pleis. She spent most of her adult life in the city of Mytilene and Lesbos, where she ran an academy for unmarried young women. Sappho's school devoted itself to the cult of Aphrodite and Eros, and Sappho earned great prominence as a dedicated teacher and poet. Some of the fascinating things about her is that she's known to have written 9 volumes of poetry, but very little of her work was preserved. Some have blamed this on the activities of the medieval church, which sought to suppress works which were pagan and, what's more, often probably quite sexy. Sappho is, after all, the poet who inspired the word lesbian for a woman who loves other women. Sappho's home, as we know, was in the island of Lesbos. One scholar took the trouble to copy out one of Sappho's poems because he admired Sappho's use of vowels. Another of her poems was discovered because it had been scribbled down on an ancient broken clay pot. Sappho is an important poet because she stands at the beginning of the lyric tradition in poetry, a tradition so named because Sappho's compositions were originally accompanied by music played on the lyre. Poems of Sappho, translated by Julia Dubnoff. I took my lyre and said, "Come now, my heavenly tortoiseshell, become a speaking instrument." Immortal Aphrodite, on your intricately brocade throne, child of Zeus, weaver of wiles, this I pray. Dear lady, don't crush my heart with pains and sorrows, but come here, if ever before, when you heard my far-off cry, you listened and you came, leaving your father's house, yoking your chariot of gold. Then beautiful, swift sparrows led you over the black earth, from the sky through the middle air, whirling their wings into a blur. Rapidly they came, and you, O blessed goddess, a smile on your immortal face, asked what had happened this time. Why did I call again? And what did I especially desire for myself in my frenzied heart? Who this time am I to persuade to your love? Sappho, who is doing you wrong? For even if she flees, soon she shall pursue, and if she refuses gifts, soon she shall give them. If she doesn't love you, soon she shall love, even if she's unwilling. Come to me now, once again, and release me from grueling anxiety. All that my heart longs for, fulfill, and be yourself my ally in love's battle. Some say an army of horsemen, some of foot soldiers, some of ships is the fairest thing on the black earth, but I say it is what one loves. It's very easy to make this clear to everyone, for Helen, by far surpassing mortals in beauty, left the best of all husbands and sailed to Troy, mindful of neither her child nor her dear parents, but with one glimpse she was seduced by Aphrodite. For easily bent and nimbly has reminded me now of Anactoria, who is not here, I would much prefer to see the lovely way she walks and the radiant glance of her face than the war chariots of the Lydians or their foot soldiers in arms. That man to me seems equal to the gods, the man who sits opposite you and close by listens to your sweet voice and your enticing laughter that indeed has stirred up the heart in my breast. For whenever I look at you even briefly, I can no longer say a single thing, but my tongue is frozen in silence. Instantly, a delicate flame runs beneath my skin, while my eyes I see nothing. My ears make a whirring noise. A cold sweat covers me, trembling seizes my body, and I am greener than grass, lacking but little of death do I seem. Thank you, Sappho.